Job versus career. What's the difference? Let's talk about it. I'm Timothy Barrett, and welcome to the For Business English Rundown. This is the show for professionals from all over the world who want to improve their communication skills in English. So job versus career. What's the difference? Are these the same? In some contexts, they might be considered the same. Certainly they kind of overlap. A lot of words have kind of a broad meaning and then a very specific meaning. So in the broad meaning of the two words, they definitely overlap. But they're not synonyms. Generally, a job is any type of employment. So it could be a career. If you have a career, you have a job. But just because you have a job doesn't necessarily mean you have a career. For instance, my first job was washing dishes in a restaurant chain, small restaurant chain. Now, that was a job. I mean, I worked, I got paid, not a lot, but I got paid. But that wasn't a career. I mean, I only lasted there, several months, I think less than a year. I got other jobs and moved on, but that wasn't my career. Now, if I had stayed there and let's say I wanted to stay there, then maybe I could have made it a career. But a career is kind of focused more on permanency in the future, not just temporary, not just right now, but also a job that kind of has a future. Generally, we think of entry-level jobs like I had, are never really a career. Maybe they're a gateway. Maybe they open doors to a career where you can advance to different things, but those jobs themselves are not a career. A career, often you have some kind of requirements to entry, barriers to entry. Maybe you need to get a degree. Maybe you need to get certification. And I don't necessarily mean like a university degree. If you want to be a master plumber, a master electrician, master carpenter, maybe you have to go to trade school to learn those skills, or you have to apprentice, you have to work for somebody else. You have to have some experience before you just hold yourself out. Being a skilled tradesman, you can definitely make a career out of it. That can be a career. Whereas, washing dishes, well, anyone can get that job. I mean, you could quit your career and then get a job doing that. You don't need a lot of prep work. A lot of jobs I started out with, I always said had kind of a warm body theory. As long as you're a warm body, then you can do that job. There are not a lot of requirements. Now, other jobs aren't like that. You do need to have some training, some skill, some background before you get that job. That's probably more like a career. Now, some other interesting terms we might throw in here are profession. Anyone that's in a profession definitely has a career. Normally, we think of the professions as being an advanced skilled type employment. Professions require advanced skills and usually advanced degrees. So there's doctors, lawyers, accountants, things like that. And it may even require a license, where you have to get certified, have to have some kind of certification from the state, from the government, or some other agency. With a profession or with a career, you may have a job, but it's a little bit more than a job. Another related term might be calling. A calling is something that you're kind of called to. Like, I didn't really know I ended up here, but I was kind of called to it. So it's definitely people that would do, become a priest or religious work or sometimes social work, charitable work, that type of thing. They will often say, it's a calling, that they do it not necessarily for the money, but they do it because it's important. They're kind of called to it. They want to do these kind of good works. So we often call that a calling. Other words might be vocation or avocation. So a vocation is a calling or a career. This is your job, your vocation. This is what I do to make a living. An avocation is kind of like what I do for entertaining or to relax. So my vocation might be 9 to 5. If you haven't seen the 9 to 5 job video, watch that one. But my avocation is what I do after 5 o'clock. When I get home on the weekends, I do my avocation. My vocation might be driving buses. My avocation is hiking in the mountains, or playing the piano, or whatever it is. That's what I do to relax. That's what I do to have fun. Now, to get back to the original question, career or job. A job, any type of employment, but a career is a type of employment, but that, again, has more of a future to it. To become a teacher with a tenured position where there's some stability there, that would be a career. To get a job, as a temporary worker somewhere, that's just a job. That's not a career. But there are certainly some jobs that you could make a career or decide, gee, I don't really want this career. I'm going to go somewhere else. For instance, I worked at a couple of financial companies that I could have made a career out of. I could have stayed there and grew in the company and that sort of thing. But, I just didn't want to make my career out of it. They started out as jobs for me, and they stayed jobs. I kind of left and moved to something else. So I've had several jobs that were kind of like that I could have stayed and made a career. I could have made a career path and that sort of thing, that there was room to grow in those jobs. But for whatever reason, I really don't want to make a career out of this. This is my job, but now I have an exit strategy. I have something else that I want to do, so I'm going to go over here and search for my career doing something different. So a career has some kind of permanence to it, that you could work there maybe until you retire, but also you want to work there until you retire. Yeah, this is my career. I'm going to keep doing this. Now, maybe my career is to work at this one company. Now, in this company, I might have several positions. I start out at this level, I get a promotion, or I transfer to a different department or a different branch, and then I get another promotion. Or, maybe I stay at that same level. Either way, that I could say that that's my career. I made a career out of this company. Or maybe my career is this type of job or this field, where I work in this career for my life until I retire, but maybe I work for 2 or 3 different employers. For example, for a while I was a prosecutor. I worked in one prosecutor's office, then I got a job in a different prosecutor's office. And I liked that job, but my boss lost the election, so guess what? I moved to a different prosecutor's office. Now, it was the same career, really, to be a prosecutor, but I had 3 different jobs within a few years, within several years. So just because you're in that career doesn't mean that you have the exact same job. You could get promoted within that job, do different roles kind of within that job, or change employers, work for someplace else, but kind of within the same field. I mean, you're not doing something completely different, but you're still within that career. So what do you think? Right now, do you have a job? Do you have a career? Post in the comments below. Time to conquer that like button and make it ours. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of our other videos. I think you'll like them just as much, if not more. Work hard today and enjoy tomorrow.